Very warm welcome to the inaugural Insurtech Festival here in Kolkata. And this event promises to be a groundbreaking exploration in the dynamic world of insurance and technology. Shri Devashish Sen is the Managing Director of West Bengal Housing Infrastructure Development Corporation Limited. He is a seasoned civil servant with 34 years of experience in various administrative roles like Additional Chief Secretary, IT Department, Government of West Bengal, and Chief Electoral Officer, Election Commission of India.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Gargi, and thank you, Surya, for inviting me out here. I welcome you to Newtown, the smart city, only smart city of Bengal, and very close to this place, walking distance, you just cross the canal, and you have the only fintech hub in Eastern India. In Western India, of course, you have a lot of others, but this was the first initiative of the Mamata Banerjee government way back in 2012, and it has made considerable progress. 2 weeks back, I was in Mumbai. There was this global fintech festival in Mumbai at the new Geo Center, where we met a lot of other people. There too, I made a presentation of how the Eastern India's only fintech hub is coming up. In the 70 acres of land dedicated to fintech hub, we already have 28 financial institutions. And one of them, which is already functioning, is the National Insurance Company, which is already functioning, and also the State Bank of India's training center is functioning. Many are on the way. The Bandhan Bank, for example, the HDFC Bank, Campus 1, Campus 2, so many other things are happening. Indeed, the idea of the fintech hub came because we think India is a very large country. And as all of us know, we often call it a subcontinent. Indeed, it is said that in a country there can be only space for one fintech hub. But for a country like India, it needs more than one, and certainly the government is pushing very hard for making this fintech hub a real place of activity. If we look at the global listings of fintech hubs in the world, you will find that the top 4 are as follows: New York, London, Singapore, and Tokyo. If you observe closely, you will find that 2 of them, of the top 4, 2 of them are in the Western Hemisphere and 2 others are in the Eastern Hemisphere. In the Eastern, we say we are closer to them. Look East policy. Look at South Asia, look at Far East Asia, and all the economic prosperity that is happening, and with internet and the world getting closer, what better location than Kolkata to have a financial capital of kind. Indeed, not I, but the McKinsey Global Institute's findings some time back, I won't say it's a latest finding, some time back, the McKinsey Global Institute said in an article published publicly is that India would have 3 financial centers. One, of course, the leading would be Mumbai, followed by NCR Delhi, and followed by, we are not saying, McKinsey Global Institute is saying, is Kolkata. Again, because of East, Southeast Asia, closeness and property prices. In fact, the HSBC Bank is thinking of moving away, which has its headquarters, Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank, but having headquarters in London. They are thinking of moving away elsewhere because it's no longer cost effective to be there. But of course, insurance and Insurtech is one of the part of fintech hub. But I will recall one incident again some years back when I went to Mumbai and I was putting my visiting card to the doors, to the secretaries of various CMDs of financial institutions. That is where all the people are. And I remember talking to the chairman, managing director of one of the very big, not LIC, but some of the very big banking companies. And he said, Mr. Sen, if you are wanting to go into a new area, there's no point competing with others. Why don't you go to a new area in the fintech hub? I said, what it is? And he said, reinsurance. I had no idea what it meant. So I asked him. So I have heard of insurance because I have to pay from my salary. It is a group insurance scheme. They deduct it whether I want it or not. But what is refinance? He explained. I'm sure you are professionals in this room. You would know much better. But all I'm saying is, this reinsurance business, the retail insurance, the risks are bought over by big companies, international companies, so that there is more fluidity for the retail insurance people. And according to him, I don't know whether it's true or not true, but he is a very knowledgeable person, and he seemed to think that India doesn't have a reinsurance setup. And that is where money is, that is where employment is, that is where future is, that is where international movement in the fintech world is happening. So I would certainly, I am very enthused to understand that this is Eastern India's first Insurtech conclave, if I may say so. And reinsurance is something we must look for. It will benefit you if you are actually in the insurance sector. As I was observing the number of hands swaying to the beautiful music that was happening, I could not sway my hand here because I am not in the insurance field. But I believe you are all professionals, and if so, it will help us, the government, the country, and of course the Eastern region tremendously if we can get some reinsurance partners interested in having a presence in India, and why not in Kolkata for the first time. I am very fond of the story. It's a story, not history. It's a story that Bombay is what it is because of the Suez Canal. The Europeans first came to Suez Canal, landed at the first shore, and then the trade began, commerce began, and they became so good. So if we are able to bring this reinsurance business internationally, it has to be an SEZ primarily, because you have to allow them, they will not convert into Indian rupee and do business. I mean, these are very big players. I believe in Dubai is turning out to be very good in the reinsurance. So I think a resolution should be taken over here that let us network together and place the demand before not only the government but the financial community in general, that we must introduce international reinsurance in the fintech hub in Kolkata. So if we are able to do this, then only we will be able to make big strides and fulfill what the McKinsey Global Institute has been saying over the last few decades. The other point that I would like to say, and I am indeed very much into applications, I cannot write a line of code, but applications of emerging technology in services, public service and many other places. I mean, again, it is probably carrying coals to Newcastle. You would all know what really impresses me is, from my point of view, is the amazing utilization of artificial intelligence and machine learning, AI/ML, in various insurance and financial products. Now, the famous advertisements of PhonePe, that you can, while the police is coming to catch you to check your papers on a bike, Amir Khan tells that, by the time the police is able to check, I have already got my insurance. So he can't take road tax and insurance, without which it is illegal under the Motor Vehicle Act to run any vehicle. So, and it boasts of 1.5 rupee per day for a two-wheeler and things like that. There has been some criticism whether it is good or bad, but that's not the point. This is the ease of business that one wants. Again, in one fintech corporation, one of these discussion forums in Mumbai, somebody was regaling a story that a young college girl wanted to go with her friends to a movie, and you know, Pathan you can't see without 220 rupees in your pocket, and she didn't have it, and she was feeling left out. Everybody else is going bus just because she doesn't have that money. So she immediately does an apps, an instant loan. You can get so many other things. She gets 220 rupees from the instant loan and buys her ticket along with her friends to go to the movie in a group. What is the moral of the story? The moral of the story, you have to take all kinds of technology and apps and AI/ML especially to see that ease of giving loans, getting insurance. Think of the Amir Khan phone pay example that I just mentioned. We have to move towards it. People are very discerning. They have no time to waste in documentation and things like that. Very, very fine advertisements I was seeing that says, oh, you want a loan when this person asks for this loan. Okay, 3 working days and 4 documentation days, and please bring this set of checklists that I give you, and we will think of giving you the loan within 3.5 weeks time. It doesn't work. It's 3.5 minutes in this world. And how can we achieve that without doing extensive use of emerging technology? In fact, this is why we have changed the name in 2012 January. Just to add a bit of color, the Mamata Banerjee government came into being in June 2011. The same December, this financial hub, as it was then called, was supposed to be inaugurated. But on the day before, there was this horrifying fire incident, if you remember, in Amri, Hakuria, and 50 people lost their lives or something. Not 50, probably 18. People lost their lives, and that inauguration program was cancelled, so we went to January. So January 2012, the financial hub was inaugurated. And this financial hub was later, name was changed to FinTech Hub to recognize the strides that are happening in the FinTech world, which includes Insurtech. We have ourselves organized huge number of meetings, especially from the IT department, of bringing in experts from all over the country to let us understand where this is going. And we changed the name of the hub from Financial Hub to FinTech Hub. And what we are doing, this is my last point that I am making from the government too, you would have observed that we are in Smart City Newtown, in a tiny scale you might say, but we are doing a great deal of ecosystem building for the startups. So we have built what we call the working pods, beautiful stands, air-conditioned places. You have a place to yourself at a very, very affordable price of ₹20 per hour, where you can do your startup activities, your research in fintech and other things. You just need a group of people, interested people, to innovate and move ahead. And especially with ChatGPT and generative AI, it is also getting increasingly easier to write down the codes and get into automated Excel sheets. So with this, we are making it very affordable for any person to come together and try to innovate and bring in new products into the market. On top of that, we have made what we call the Smart Connect, only a few minutes drive from this place at the entrance of the Bengal Silicon Valley Hub, which is also completely filled up, 200 acres of space completely taken up, not 1 inch is vacant right now, and a huge amount of activity is going on. And so this Smart Connect place, for the first time, we have heard of Smart Works, we have heard of WeWorks, but this is the only place there is co-living and co-working together. Co-living is so that people from the districts, people from other states can come in and work in Kolkata at a very affordable price. So having made these two ecosystem changes, now what we have decided to is in the FinTech Hub, over 4 acres of land, we have got the sanction of building the World Trade Center. I had this discussion with Mr. Scott Young yesterday, who flew in from New York, and we kind of closed the deal. We will very soon sign the agreement with them and wish to announce it. It is not yet signed. So we wish to sign it by the BGBS, Bengal Global Business Summit, which is going to happen in this conference center on 21st November this year. And the World Trade Center in Kolkata will be born after we are planning to convert if we are able to overcome the legal problem. But why I am raising World Trade Center? Because the World Trade Center is designed, our World Trade Center is designed so that a middle tier, the top will be for penthouses, the middle will be for offices, the bottom will be for commercial and retail, but there is a thin slice of floors and office spaces that is designed, already designed by C.P. Kukreja of Delhi, very famous architect who did part of the new parliament design that we just know, which has been in functioning only last month. This has a small portion of spaces. For the small means it's not small, it's relatively small. There is a huge amount of area that is kept for fintech startups. Fintech startups can take this space, another co-working space at very affordable prices when you are surrounded all around in the financial hub. And what the Union Minister of Finance once said, and it's quite apt, I thought, in the financial sector, is that when you talk of, your UPI apps, that is nowadays everybody uses a QR code to pay to the fuchkawala or to the auto rickshaw or to buy big things. Almost all are a Paytm, PhonePe, Amazon Pay, and etc. You don't see ICICI, SBI and others. They have come much later. They were sleeping. The big financial giants, LIC and others will be sleeping. But Startup FinTech Hub should and shall overtake and partner with them, but do that 1 minute insurance things in the interactive interface, and that will be by people like you sitting in this room, not by the giants of insurance and banking sector. So this is what we want to build up, where lots of people will be involved, where big number of startups will come. Of course, they will work in conjunction with the huge multinational companies, and at the macro scale, let us have this reinsurance business here in Kolkata. Thank you very much for the time and for your patience, and may I wish you a very, very fruitful discussion throughout the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gargi, for introducing me, and thank you, Sujo, for inviting me here. Good morning, Mr. Sen and other dignitaries present here from the Insurtech vertical. I was reading some reports recently about this, the current scenario of Insurtech. Before I thought of some data I can talk about. This is very interesting. No. In fact, I didn't know that almost 11% of the insurance fintechs share is in Insurtech, so which is a pretty large. And for the last couple of years, if you see that 2021 has seen the largest growth in the Insurtech area with around $14 billion globally. But in 2022 there was a bit slowdown globally, but in India they did pretty well. From 2016 to 2020 it was 4x increase in the investment in the Insurtech field. So that's like a pretty kind of an interesting data. If you see for India, despite of the global slowdown in 2022, India had also seen a 2x growth from 2020 to 2022, which is also very interesting. So with this, interesting, future in this vertical, and I would really thank the organizers to select Kolkata as a host for this Insurtech conference 2023. I really heartiest thank to Sujo when he came to me around 2 months back, explaining what they want to do and all. From NASSCOM, I was very much excited. In fact, NASSCOM is helping or rather tied up with the West Bengal government and enabling this startup ecosystem in India. And our focus this year has been shifted a bit from a normal IT to a deep tech area. And when we talk about deep tech, obviously the first few names that comes, agri-tech, fintech, everything that comes under this kind of emerging technologies in and around verticals that we can see now. So there we have a pretty good success. For you who doesn't know, I'd love to share these statistics. Like we have incubated so far 212 startups in last 6 years. Out of that, 71 got first level funding and 29 got second level funding. We are maybe less in numbers, but this conversion ratio I think is pretty encouraging, and I would request from all of your, as you are from this insurance vertical, and any startup that you find like they're doing interesting things or they have a chance of growth, please send them to our incubation center, which we earlier used to call 10,000 startup, but now we call it NASCOM startup. In fact, there are a few members in the steering committee I can see here, so that is really interesting. So Kolkata is not a new for the insurance, whatever my knowledge, I have some knowledge, because a lot of system integrators earlier they were present and now also they are doing global big projects. Along with that, recently we have seen a lot of Insurtech companies, specifically tech companies, and some insurance companies focusing, consulting in this area. They have now opened their, shops in Kolkata, which is very encouraging. And some of the sponsors I can see, they are in this area. In fact, Shubhada, Savan, I've seen, so this is very encouraging, and I really look forward Calcutta if in the fintech in general and Insurtech specifically can have an opportunity to grow with the infrastructure the government is already providing to us. So naturally to earn more, to have more tax benefit and other ESOPs from the government, the hospitals, the providers are taking a lot of innovative steps to go for the preventive care. Now that's overall the health is improving. So this is one of the areas that I think, like in reinsurance that you said, might have a lot of future. And of course, the other areas that we have seen already are all in place, like with the invent of the generative AI, all these things. Like there are huge changes, like in the whole customer experience. Like when right from the insurance discovery to delivery, the whole chain is now enabled with technology, and that's growing. Even underwriting process, this has been very smart. So, and now we are doing even the whole algorithmic risk assessment system. This has been matured already. It's already there in the market, and a lot of companies are already doing this. But again, with these other technologies being convergence, there is a big convergence coming with all the technologies like any other verticals, where people are going towards the digital twin. There is one company, I'm not naming it, in US, they have started the digital twin process in the whole area.
This 2-minute video will surely bring a smile on your face. This is what we work for, this is what our passion is.
मेरे जैसे बहुत लोग होंगे जिन्होंने उम्मीद छोड़ दी थी कि पैसा नहीं आएगा, मर जाएगा पैसा, लेकिन अब कम से कम there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
That gave me a sense of confidence that these guys will at least help me.
He explained me that it is definitely a fraud case, and he wanted me to just forward all the relevant documents.
बहुत ज़्यादा उनसे खुश हूँ कि मेरी इतनी हेल्प की है, जो मैं वो पैसे को मैं बच्चों के लिए फिर मैं यूज़ कर पाई, नहीं तो मैं उनकी फीस तक नहीं दे पा रही थी।
इंश्योरेंस समाधान ने अपना पूरा जोर लगाया, तो मैंने महीने बाद पेमेंट आ गई थी, 50,000 का मेरा पूरा वापस आ गया।
अगर मैं अपनी दिल के हिसाब से अगर ढूंढूं कि हाँ इस तरह की व्यवहार है, इस तरह की काम करने की अगर नियत रखने वाले लोग जुटे रहें, तो शायद बहुतों का भला हो सकता है और बहुत कुछ हो सकता है।
This is our amazing team which is creating this paradigm shift, and before I sign off, I would just like to share which describes insurance समाधान very well. मैं परिंदा क्यों बनूं, मुझे आसमान बनना है, मैं एक किस्सा क्यों बनूं, मुझे दास्तान बनना है। Thank you, thanks a lot.
How do you see insurers leveraging digital platforms and interfaces to enhance the overall customer experience in India? Because CX is something, is hugely matters in a sector like insurance, where especially in India, its perspective around insurance is a little different than other aspect of the financial services industry?
I don't see there is any kind of slowness or lack in the intention of the board or the management to really make the customer's life easy through the adoption of the technology, and therefore issuance of the policies very quickly, the convenience in paying the premium, the settlement of the claims, and therefore there are definitely, or even the accuracies of the premium that they need to calculate out. There are definitely certain intents that is very much there, but one also should actually try to be in the put ourselves in the shoes of the insurance company owners, promoters, and the management also, that there are 6 to 7 ratios which we all know that an insurance company actually has to maintain. I mean, I think we spoke of the solvency ratio, but then there are other like the persistency ratio, solvency ratio, combined ratios, claim settlement ratio. So there are 6-7 ratios which, according to the IRD rules, they always have to publish, and the profitability of an insurance company to a large extent depends on that. And therefore, in completely blindsided by these ratios, not actually giving due weightage to these ratios, if I really go completely berserk on giving the customers the convenience and spending huge amount of money in the technology, it may not always be helping the organizations of the insurance company. Because one thing we also have to know that we have to keep the insurers also profitable. Because otherwise this industry will die. So that's what's important, because we should not actually be completely going in one way, that how do we really make the insurers life easy, but the insurers also have to be profitable. But having said so, I must also say that while I see a huge amount of work on the, and this I'm seeing more from a citizen's perspective as me being a user or a beneficiary, that while the issuance of the policy has become easier, the premium collection also, or premium payment also has become easier. The claim settlement, I don't think it's still become really a very easy thing. Even I wonder that if my people like me are having an issue of a claim settlement, then people who are not having so much of contacts or connects or access, how they will be doing really the claim settlement. And this type of claim settlement, we see the problem happens even in the health, in the auto, or whenever we come across that. Now, though there are a lot of automations being done and strategic directions being taken by the Central IT Council sitting in Bombay or in Singapore, but the issue that we all need to work on is how much that is percolating down to the absolutely to the bottommost level of the executives who are doing the settlement here. Now, one of the things I've seen that you now have all the car, the telematics, and from the car the picture can be taken of an accident, from the garage also the picture can be sent. But the people who are in the insurer's office, be it the intermediary or be it an employee, in my case also it happened, or in all the cases it happened, that they will actually not go by that picture. They will say, no, I will have to come and I will have to inspect it and I have to see. Now, maybe in the performance measure, along with the technology, in the performance measure of this insurance organization, one may also now need to bring in that how many times did you have to physically visit? Why did you have to physically visit? And the reasons for that, and therefore those kinds of KPIs also now have to be brought in addition to infusing technology, that whether those technologies are really being respected, obeyed or not, and people are still going by there. Because there is a kind of, one will say that the personalized touch is important. One would also feel that the importance of that guy who is going there, because his importance sometimes gets a little questioned or diluted if he's completely automated, and that also to some extent is may not always be liked by those people who have been in this kind of style of working for long. So those two balances of the softer side along with the technology has to be done to really make the technology well adopted. But the intent is very much there. But I must also say that one should be also preserving those ratios intact rather than not going berserk in the customer's experience only. Because that may be deadly for, if one by one the insurance company, and anyway these insurance companies are not very profitable, be it the private sector or be the, the 2 or 3 organizations will I know, the last 3 years the shareholders have not got any dividend so far. So we would really not like any of these insurance companies to completely go insolvent or to go away, and that's the balancing that needs to be needed.
You very well connected to 2 points. One is insurance as a company and link with its profitability part, because as an economic contributor, as a commercial organization, they always have to focus on their profit, for their to generate more employment, to contribute to the economy, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, how they can balance to leverage, invest in more technology to make insurance more accessible. And the second point what we touched upon, which is closely linked with the first point, is the claims. Claims is, as we all know, the single point of truth. So, and that's the main challenge everyone faces, and that's what creates the perspective of the common citizens on any respective insurance companies from where they purchase their policies. So how technology can actually help, for example, blockchain, telematics, IoT devices, and so on and so forth, to make customers get easy claims, help insurers reduce the time of this investigation, and hence reducing the cost of the investigation that will again invariably affect their bottom line and the profitability. So one of the example is Lemonade, which they have tried doing something that they can, we all know perhaps the example that how they actually tried to meet a claims of an automobile policy in just 4 seconds. So, but that is just one of example. That is not really widespread across. And the day it happens, that's when we will see the real change in insurance. That's when it will take place, and that's what will make insurance more interesting for us. And the last question to you, sir, is we are all talking about financial inclusion, even in G20, in the Global FinTech Fest that happened in Mumbai, and across board. So, when it comes to insurance and inclusion, how do you see technology helping to increase insurance accessibility and coverage for previously underserved population in India?
This will be purely my personal view. I know on the G20 and others there will be a lot of discussions happening in terms of this financial inclusion. It is definitely a subject of interest now, and hardly any financial services sector discussion gets completed without this term financial inclusion. But I am really not buying the concept of technology being an inhibitor to the financial, or at all a decisive or a decision maker in the financial inclusion or in the insurance adoption. 3% of the country being insured, 97% being not insured, of which the major part, 60 to 70% will be in the peri-urban or in the semi-urban or in the rural sites. Economically also significantly marginalized, educationally marginalized, living in a hugely kind of marginalized infrastructural situation. The concept of the insurance is not known to them. The trust of the insurance is not there. They don't know what insurance is. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a young girl who was working in my home, and she's not there with us anymore. She now moved back to her village, and she called me up. She got a tumor in one of her body parts, and so she said, called me up saying that, what do I do, Dada, now, what do we do? So one of the questions that I asked her, that do you have an insurance, because it will be an expensive project. To that she said that, look, I have to actually walk around 2 hours to go to my nearest health clinic, even to have an inspection, a mere inspection of the tumor portion of my body. Forget about any further detailed inspection or any procedure to be done, for which I don't know how many hours will I have to walk. And then in that case, in that scenario, where is the insurance coming from? I mean, to her, that insurance is a much less of a necessity than to get herself treated at a lesser cost and well treated at a. So if we do not have that infrastructure, if we do not have a health infrastructure, if we do not have that kind of an infrastructure about which the home becomes very important, that it's my core, then really technologically revolutionizing the insurance thing, making it very accessible, making it mobile oriented, giving it this all AI kinds of thing, that will not possibly do in any way the adoption or enhance the adoption thing. Also, one needs to see from an insurer's perspective that whether the insurers are at this point in time also very keen about a widespread adoption of the insurance in the country because of the maintenance of the 6 or 7 ratios. Because every insurance I sell, I have to have a huge amount of, there's a certain ratio by which I have to do a provisioning. So every insurance I sell, there is a provisioning that I need to maintain. So it's at both sides. Whether the insurer has an interest. I wanted to do an insurance to all the people who are working for me. At one point in time, I just thought of doing a health insurance, and there are other insurances for them. All of them came to me and said that whatever you are going to pay as a premium for that, please pay me to my salary.
Books that are focused on insurance technology in particular, where I focused on the history of Insurtech and AI. Of course, we talk about history of insurance, but this is history of Insurtech and AI, where the landscape is and what the future looks like, and most importantly, the regulatory and compliance aspects. And I'll just take just 5 minutes to launch the book. And the most interesting part of this book is the title of the book is being suggested by none other than ChatGPT. So that makes it more interesting that this book is focused on technology. Yes, we have to build an ecosystem in the eastern region. We need ecosystem, we need partnerships, investments, skilling and reskilling to make this happen, make Calcutta the vibrant spot for financial services and technology in the next stage. And we have none other than Devashi Sen, who is driving that with the FinTech Hub, all the implications, executions of all emerging technologies possible, one of which is the application of blockchain, which Sir has done for managing property and assets, the first ever in